Thank you, Presiding Officer. To ask the Scottish Government what its response is to the Scottish Information Commissioner's letter to it, expressing disappointment in the way it complied with Decision 193/2024 regarding legal advice that it received.
Minister Jamie Hepburn.
These matters were the subject of a recent statement by the First Minister where he clearly set out the Scottish Government complied with the Commissioner's decision within the required timescale, taking the highly unusual step of releasing legal advice.
The Scottish Information Commissioner's letter to this SNP government is absolutely damning. When a Freedom of Information request was submitted to the SNP government about the Ministerial Code investigation into Nicola Sturgeon's conduct, they refused to disclose it, saying they didn't hold this information. The Information Commissioner disagreed with him, as did the courts, but this SNP government wasted taxpayers' money on that legal fight regardless. A subsequent request for information was sent to the SNP government asking for the legal advice it received in relation to this case, and after much delay, the SNP government finally released it. The First Minister told this chamber the legal advice was unambiguous. It supported challenging the Commissioner's decision. However, the Information Commissioner states in his letter that Scottish Ministers' chances of success in the case were substantially diminished. Minister, can you tell us with a straight face that the First Minister was being fully candid when he told this chamber that the legal advice was unambiguous?
Minister?
Yes.
Douglas Lumsden.
We're all too used to the secrecy and spin of this SNP government, but the public are fed up of it, and judging by this letter, so is the Commissioner. He highlights factual discrepancies submitted by SNP ministers in this case and says there was a misrepresentation of the facts about SNP ministers' prospects of success. There is a running theme about the SNP government's handling of the Salmond saga and its fallout, and John Swinney's fingerprints are all over it. They've consistently tried to dodge scrutiny, conceal information from public view and obfuscate when questions about their conduct is asked. So can I ask the Minister, what is it about this scandal that the SNP government are trying to hide?
Minister.
As I've already laid out, these matters were the subject of a recent statement by the First Minister. He's laid out the Scottish Government's perspective. The Commissioner is obviously entitled to his perspective. We have always operated in terms of in line with the FOI law. The First Minister has made his statement and he's laid out the Government's position.
Thank you. Katie Clark.
The First Minister confirmed in his letter to me dated the 6th of November that there remain 5 extant FOI cases relating to the evidence to James Hamilton's investigation. Does the Minister accept that whilst there have been significant improvement in reducing the backlog in FOI cases, it is in these highly political situations where there is ministerial involvement that requested information is being withheld?
Minister.
Well, we will respond to any request from the FOI Commissioner, again in line with FOI law, and at least welcome the fact that Ms Clark acknowledges the Information Commissioner's part of the letter where he recognises the Government's improved performance.
Willie Rennie.
Despite what the Minister says, and despite all that John Swinney, the First Minister, had said earlier on, the Information Commissioner is still angry. And he's making some pretty strong statements about factual inaccuracies and the fact that it's not a true or transparent reflection. Does the Minister understand that trust is at the heart of this? So what lessons has he learnt from this episode and what is he going to change?
Minister.
I make the point already. We've released a significant volume of information. Everything is available for people to look at. The First Minister made his statement. Our position stands as set out by the First Minister in the statement he made on the 29th of October.
Brief supplementary, Fergus Ewing.
Thank you, Presiding Officer. This case arose from a request for information, which request was made in April 2021, Presiding Officer. That's over 3.5 years ago. Now, the Scottish Government believes profoundly in freedom of information, but surely that delay is tantamount to an abuse of process and a thwarting of the law to which the Government is subject. Will, therefore, the material requested be released forthwith? And will the Minister undertake that no further delay is conscionable?
Minister.
I recognise that Mr Ewing has corresponded with the Scottish Government on some of these matters, and he can look forward to a response on that in due course.
Thank you. Question number